Have we seen the beauty and the beast of the FA Cup this weekend? I mean, Martin, the beauty, non-league Macclesfield knocked out the holders Crystal Palace.
Incredible.
Sorry, Simon. 2-1. I mean, Macclesfield ranked 117 places below Palace, meaning that this was indeed the biggest upset in the competition of all time in terms of league places. You know, well done the Macclesfield boys, but if you were in that starting 11 of Palace, you're always going to be remembered for that, aren't you?
Well, they won it last year. No one can take that away, but you also don't want this on your record, on your CV, to have gone out to a team in level 6. Do you know, it was quite remarkable. It had a strange feel to it. I felt in the opening exchange, it didn't feel like it was going to be a major upset, but Palace just didn't seem to change gear. They didn't understand where they were. Jim, you have to sense these things as a player and try and dig yourself out of it. But credit to Macclesfield. The goal they score, was it Dawson who scores the goal with a bandage on his head? It was almost comical. Do you know?
Yeah.
But maybe they should keep that bandage and write on it, you know, what a great, and get that signed by all the players, because it was an amazing day.
Oh, Marv, were you ever on the end of something similar?
No, but nearly. And it was like you just have to wake up, you know, a moment in time, and the whole thing is against you. It's as if the weather changes just for the FA Cup. You know, sleety rain, frosty pitch.
Yeah.
All the conditions, AstroTurf pitch that they were playing on, but Palace couldn't put it together.
Yeah, it's a great story for local businessman Robert Smethurst.
Yeah.
Because he bought the club's assets, and with former player Robbie Savage joining the board, they were reformed as a Phoenix club. 146 years of history consigned to the history books when Macclesfield Town ceased training in 2020. It is a great story. This was Robert Smethurst, who was speaking on the Sunday edition yesterday.
Yeah, do you know what? When I bought the club, you know, I wanted to do something special. You know, obviously the club had gone into receivership. You know, I had a great opportunity and lucky enough that I sold my business, and I wanted to do something good. And, you know, I wanted to put Macclesfield back on the map. And, you know, obviously I bought it on Rightmove. But, you know, it is all about the community. It's about the fan base. You know, we've built something really special there. There's nearly 3,500, 4,000 fans come to each game, you know, Tuesday night, Saturdays. You know, and the emphasis is on really just giving back and making sure that, you know, that they really enjoy it. You know, you see the, you know, the faces and the community spirit that you see, you know, week in, week out. And I think, you know, that's what non-league football is about. It's about, you know, seeing those people on a Saturday really enjoying themselves and getting that community spirit going.
Simon, he bought it on Rightmove and he wanted to put the club back in the map. It's a great story, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I spoke to Robbie Savage a couple of years ago about it and his relationship with this fellow. So listen, it's a great outcome for them. There's no excuses for Crystal Palace. It's poor. The manager summed it up at the end of the game. He didn't leave any doubts in people's mind as to what he thought of his own team's performance. He thought it was appalling, didn't even create a chance. And it's a poor defence of the FA Cup. As Martin says, you can't take away anything from Crystal Palace. They're the 2025 FA Cup winners, beat Man City. But disappointing. What I hope for Macclesfield is they get a really good draw. They get a big away draw against one of the big sides and don't draw someone like Mansfield or something where they get 2 and 6. So I hope that they go and profit from it. They've done remarkably well. If you don't turn up in football matches, it doesn't matter what level you're at, you're going to find yourself in a difficult position, and Palace didn't turn up.
They're still 2 promotions away from the Football League. Just to put this into context, it's really quite remarkable. I mean, as a club, since the liquidation, they've got 3 promotions. So they've gone on this journey, but this will probably be their finest ever hour.
And you've seen this before. I mean, we saw this when Wimbledon departed, when I booted them out all those years ago, and they went up to MK Dons, and then they reformed themselves as a football club again and came back through the pyramid. Yeah. Momentum is a great thing, but there is no excuse for those players. I feel sorry for the Palace fans that have travelled up to that part of the world and been embarrassed. I'm pleased for Macclesfield. I don't think anyone should be mealy-mouthed about it. Palace's performance is to Macclesfield's credit. They were ready for a game. They had all the disadvantage of playing against a Premier League side. There might have been changes, but there were some big players on that field. You know, Premier League footballers have got lots of noise about what they want, what they're entitled to, when they should get this and when they should get that. You've got to go and win games like this, if not anything for your own pride, but also for the supporters that you play for, because now Palace have the indignation that Wolverhampton Wanderers had in 1909, which had been knocked out as the FA Cup holders by then non-league side Crystal Palace.
Yeah,
I mean, they're not even full-time, Jim.
No, you know, it's a brilliant story, and that is the beauty. This has to be the beast. Exeter thumped 10-1 by Manchester City. I mean, I'm interested in this, Simon. I'm interested that you're taking this. Exeter's plea for more FA Cup money from City was turned down. The Exeter City Supporters Trust, who own the League One club, called on City to give a greater share of the gate receipts from their third round FA Cup tie. The club this week revealed they'd asked the Premier League club for a greater proportion of the gate receipts as a quote, statement of solidarity. Would they be deserving of it?
Not particularly, no. I mean, if they're happy to make themselves a charity case, that's up to them. If it were at their game, if it were at their ground, I could see the arguments. In this instance, they're already getting 250 to 350,000 out of this game, so they've done quite nicely out of it.
Right.
So I don't really think, and I think if you set these sort of precedents, do you want these big clubs playing in the FA Cup? Because we know it's getting diminished by other tournaments that are seemingly having more priority. And I know that at the beginning of the cycle, it's not that big a deal to them, and 350 grand makes no difference to Man City. It falls out of their pocket on the way to the game. But that's not the point. You set precedents. And I do think it's not the right move. I mean, I know other clubs have done it previously. I've done it previously. I've given away gate receipts. And I know that other clubs have done it as well. But that tends to be at much smaller levels. And if you've got
You've
an
done it.
Yeah.
I thought you didn't believe in charitable socialism.
No, I do. I think there's times and places to do everything. Everything's about balance. Chelsea did it for me once. That's why I'm so fond of Trevor Birch. Trevor Birch did it for me when Chelsea played us in a pre-season friendly. He went, look, you're a championship club. We don't need this dough. You take all the money out of the gate receipts. But it was at Selhurst Park. And if it was at Stamford Bridge, I would have not asked for it. If it was at Exeter's ground, St James's Park, whatever that's called, I would have expected them to ask. I think it is, isn't it? St James?
Are they wrong to ask, Simon? If it's offered, fair enough, but to ask for it.
Well, I think if you don't ask, you don't get.
Exactly.
But I mean, there's this big thing about football clubs having pride in themselves. We listened to the Strasbourg fans complaining about the fact that Blue Co have spent tens of millions of pounds on transfers for them during the summer, but taking a manager that they introduced because they're losing their identity. They don't like to be made to feel like second-class citizens. Or Exeter are quite happy to put their hands up and say, we are second-class citizens.
Yes. Yeah, not bad, Simon. A lot to get through this morning. So much for the beauty and the beast of the FA Cup. But what about Manchester United? What about Manchester United? No Amorim, but it's the same old Manchester United. What the heck is going on there? It's Jim White, Simon Jordan, Martin Keown, alive and well on TalkSport this Monday morning.